this will help. Alrighty, Steve, I'll be in touch.
All right, be safe.
Thank you.
All right, first time rider, rookie mistakes. Sharing it so maybe you can learn from some of my mistakes. Totally rookie rider, man. Never rode a motorcycle before. Scooters are easy, right? You twist and go, just like a bicycle, they say. Well, that's kind of true, but not really true. Anyways, I was watching scooter videos, learning about scooters, learning about the different makes and models and sizes, and just narrowing it down. Finally saw this good deal kind of pop up, so I hopped on it and literally hopped on it. Took an Uber out, picked up the scooter, bought it for cash. Anyways, I had to get my nerve up to go ride it home 25 miles through the city, having never ridden before. And the closest I got was I went and sat on a couple of scooters at a couple of different dealerships. But, you know, they don't let you ride them, and they seemed big at the dealer, and it seemed big when I showed up to ride it home. When I caught this Uber out here to West Hills. This is like a private gated community, you know, and all of a sudden we start going up these hills, and I'm like, am I gonna ride this scooter down this hill? But actually coming down was no big deal. I think I looped a different way down than we came up. We came up a little steeper, but on the bike it was really not too big of a deal. So I was just totally like, right here it's coming down pretty steep. You can hear I got the brakes on the whole time. And but just getting, you know, just totally for the first time, how do I balance this thing? How do I turn this thing? And it's not too difficult, but it takes some getting used to. And I'm sure the cyclists watching have already seen my rookie mistakes. But I'll go through each one as they happen. So right here, almost to the exit gate of this gated community. And yeah, it was pretty nice up there. Some decent space between the houses, not right on top of each other, so you know they're paying a pretty penny for that. Anyways, I think right when I get to the gate, I realized my first mistake. I think I said something. Let's see. Or did I pass the gate? Oh, I just said it. Goggles. So this is like an incredibly hot day. It's like 90 degrees. And I don't know what I'm doing. And here's the gate. So I realized, oh man, I didn't put my goggles on. I need my goggles on, right? So now I'm like, oh, okay, I better find a place to pull over before I get out in traffic. So this is still just the entrance to the gated community. and then quickly will lead to hilarious mistake, rookie mistake number 2. But honestly, I was having a ball. I mean, I was scared half to death, but I was having a ball. I was ready with my camera. I had my old jacket from riding stand-up scooters, padded jacket, and I'm like, I got my knee pads. I'm like all ready to roll. So I'm like, here, I'll stop on this bike trail and get my goggles on to be safe. And then here's mistake number 2. I was watching so many scooter videos, especially with the Vespas, and they all have different kind of releases for the seat. I couldn't remember. The guy just showed me like 10 minutes ago, and my mind went blank. I'm like panicking. And I'm like, my eyes are drying out. It's hot. I don't want to get a bug in the face and cause an accident. And I'm like, just kind of panicking a little bit and not thinking straight. And I thought it had to do something with the key release. Like a lot of the Vespas have those. And even, I think, some of the other makers. And that ain't it. And the funny thing is later, when I learned how to do it, I looked past it. It's like one of those nervous things when you're kind of not paying attention. Your awareness goes down because of nerves. And I looked at it at least a few times. So anyways, I'll fast forward this.
Is it this hard?
Yeah, I was getting frustrated. I couldn't figure it out. And I didn't want to break the seat. But they're pretty sturdy anyways. So here I am. I'm texting the guy. Hey, Steve, I forgot how to open the seat. How do you open the seat again? And then, of course, not an answer. And plus, I barely had cell signal up there. In fact, I may not have. But I tried it just in case, like maybe 1 bar or something. Alright, I'll have to get my goggles out a little later. Now that sound scared me, and I've never heard it since, and I have no idea what that was. I don't know if I accidentally hit the starter, because that's what it sounds like, but see, I'm freaking out, and I've never heard that since. I've had the bike for over a month now. So I really don't know what that is, but you know, bikes have to kind of come back into shape after I don't know how long it was sitting, you know, but he said it was running, but it didn't want to idle cold. I noticed he had to kind of ride it first to warm it up, and then it would idle. So here I am heading into traffic, and I mapped it out. I'm like, I don't have to take the highway, I can take the surface street, and it's a straight shot all the way home, 25 miles. I can do that. This is my first official light. And I'm like, this is peppy, it's good. I can keep up with traffic with this. You can see my another rookie mistake right now. Okay, and that was my exit. I just passed it. So now I'm like, oh, I just passed that street, that was it. And I'm like, okay, do I turn right? Do I turn left? Where do I turn? I need to turn around. And I'm like, I don't want to freak out too much. Cars coming around me fast. Alright, here's a left. I'll take this left. I can do this. Now watch this. Here's another mistake. This is my first turnaround. And I'm like, oh my gosh, I can't turn this. I almost go off the side. And I've only been riding for a month now, but it's like, you don't turn, you just lean and the bike turns. So didn't have a feel for it at that point. Except just slow at a corner, Rookie mistakes, man. Here's back to my exit. There we go. Now it's a straight shot all the way home, 25 miles. Ah, there you go. See that? That helmet was so high. I was like, it felt so awkward, and I'm like, it never pulled it down until now. My neighbor was throwing that helmet out, and I said, hey, I'll take it. I'm thinking about getting a bike. So since then I've learned that helmet is way too loose. It's a large, and I now have a medium. And yeah, that it looks ridiculous now. But here I go. I'm like, I'm just gonna stay to the side. I can do this. I can make it home. It's 90 degrees. I'm sweating. But I was totally afraid of something getting in my eye, which could totally happen anytime, and going fast, and even a bug hitting my eye, and it's really dangerous. But I couldn't get that seat open, so I'm just like, I'm going for it. Looking for cars, looking to be safe, looking for stuff in the road, getting the feel for the bike, getting the feel for the seat, the speed. And here's the thing, I was insured, okay, so I was at least smart enough to wrangle insurance, get a VIN, make sure I was covered for the ride home, because you just don't want to chance it, especially in LA in traffic and everything like that. So I did some things right. But I'm still having issue with the seat adjustment, and I think I may end up lowering the rear spring. I've changed the seat cushion twice to lower it, but I'm a short dude, and whatever, this bike sits tall for me. So if you look at my leg there, I'm kind of like trying to get used to, do I scoop my butt a little bit and go flat foot, or do I do tippy toe? So that's the thing. They say, oh, it's easy, it rides like a bicycle. Well, this is a 315-pound bicycle, so it's a little different. You're quickly learning how to balance this thing, and it's much easier when you're moving, but when you come to a stop and you got to balance it quickly, you kind of just got to get a routine going with one of your feet, whatever is comfortable, and without losing that balance, you know. And even after a month and lowering the seat twice, I still want to lower it more, because just to have more confidence for stops. And another thing about the seat is that it pushes me forward after I go over bumps, so it really does need to get lowered in the back, and then it won't be pushing me forward as much. I really hate readjusting it, so if it's a little lower in the back, then it'll be pushing me back into the seat instead of forward. So but you learn quick with every ride, and that's what I realized. Like my first ride, from the beginning and then the hour getting home, I was much more comfortable at the end of the ride. And then my second ride was actually going out with some buddies, so I'll be posting a video of that. And it's pretty funny though too. I have a scooter, and my other buddy's on a Harley, and my other buddy's like on a cool Italian vintage bike. But here I am in traffic, man. So just busy Saturday traffic, and you'll see it just keeps getting more and more congested, and some weird drivers too, man. And every little city around LA has its own set of typical driving habits, you know, from the neighborhoods and stuff. So it's kind of wacky out here. You got the hipsters and the fast cars, and then you got the workers and the trucks and stuff. Weird balance. And the shoppers on a Saturday. Yeah, and it was getting uncomfortable, just like easing up when people don't pull up at lights and stuff, and just having to balance and stop and balance. And look at this, 3-car wreck right there. And I just passed a 3-car wreck in the middle of an intersection. I'm like, dude, you better be careful. Oh my gosh. And I think it was just nerves. I didn't choose the center lane, which probably would have been a better lane to be in. But I felt like I didn't want to race anybody, and kind of just wanted to stay a little slower, you know. But there's more to look out for, and the road was much worse in that right lane, so it would have been safer for me to actually go into the center lane. And the streets are horrible. There were some grooves. There was a lot of grooves and potholes and craziness. But every mile, you're getting a little more comfortable, getting a little more used to it, you know. Try not to look like a rookie and be in control. But it's pretty funny. So not here, I decide, you know what, I'm going to pull over. I still haven't got my goggles on, and I'm going to put a little more gas in here just for, I didn't really need to, but I thought, just for the experience and an extra stop and start and just learning the ropes, kind of getting used to what to do. It's so funny, that helmet is so out of place. It's like a off-road motocross helmet or something. So I gotta confess, the gas thing, I still haven't figured it out fully, and I think I need to make some changes the way the overflow works on the gas tank, because it just overflows too easily. And this is the first time, so this time I really did overfill it, and of course it spilled out all over the place, and it really didn't need much gas. So I did top it off too much, which isn't a good idea. So there's more to learn. I went out for a ride today, and I didn't overfill it, but it still leaked gas, and I don't know if it was just a weird angle or it's just a weird beast, and the gas thing didn't go all the way up, so I didn't fill the gas tank. But it's just something to get used to with this bike, and I think started right up, and dude, you still don't have goggles on. And I remembered I heard I was like, oh, okay, goggles, and then I had a text, an important business text I needed to respond to that I heard. So I'm like, okay, I'm just gonna take my time. I think that's one of the main things is learning to ride motorcycle, scooter, is just, you're no longer in a hurry. You're not riding it to get somewhere. You're riding it for enjoyment, and it's a total different mindset, and it's just relaxing into it and learning things patiently. And I'm not riding it to commute. I'm riding it for enjoyment on the weekends or in the mountains and stuff. So total different mindset, and I'm realizing it's whereas driving in traffic is stressful to get somewhere, and it's all about the destination. Cycling is about the journey. It's not about the destination. There's tons of cool places to go, yeah, but just the fact of riding and open air, paying attention, being invisible, because you are invisible to cars just speeding around, and being precautious. It's retraining your brain about the road and everything, and it's a growth thing. There you go. I opened the seat. I got my on this Sim scooter, Taiwanese. It has a separate, beneath the gas tank is a separate keyhole, which I didn't see. I looked at it probably like 5 times, but just didn't see it. And here I am waiting to go into traffic, right? And this guy has his backup lights on. I'm like, okay, what are you doing with your backup lights on? You gonna ram into me? So I'm just like, I'm keeping my distance from you. because you don't know the gear the car's in. There you go. I'm like, come on, you can do it. You can go. No, they're being safe. I'm just joking. Cars fly in streets. 35 miles an hour streets basically mean 35 to 50. Back on the bumpy streets, on the bad side. So there you have it. I pulled my helmet down, got the goggles on, filled it up with gas, learning how to exist in traffic. Getting a little more comfortable as I go. And the funny thing, I was so focused and nervous about riding, and I wasn't really paying attention, and it was just a straight shot home, right? So I wasn't really paying attention to street signs, but then I started to recognize, oh, I'm close to this, I know these streets. So then it leads to another rookie mistake. Okay, so here I am. I'm like, oh, I'm already to Sepulveda. I know where I am now. And then I have this idea. Oh, you know what? The guy who talked me into getting a scooter, who started on scooters and then went to motorcycles, he lives right around here. I should stop by and show him my new scooter. You know, he'll be all excited. I can join him on some rides, which he was talking about. So then I'm like, oh, I wonder if I have his address, because I don't remember exactly the streets around his house, which house, you know. So I'm like, I'll find a place to pull over and I'll look up his address. Now at this point I'm getting pretty comfortable with being in traffic. It's not really, I'm a little more relaxed. It's not freaking me out as much. Kind of just trying to be visible in people's your view mirrors and corners, choosing the right side of the lane to let people see me earlier and stuff like that. So I'm like, his house is around here, so I'm just going to pull over somewhere. And look for his address. I'm sure I have his address, right? I'm thinking, oh, it'll be fun to surprise him too, I haven't been to his house in years. I'm looking. No reader glasses, so I'm squinting. But surprisingly, did not have his address, so on my way. Here's my next rookie mistake. Uh-oh. 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 I bought a dead bike. It's not firing up. Uh-oh. I bought a lemon. Oh, almost fired up. Almost. Uh-oh. This doesn't sound good. I'm stuck. Uh-oh. Oh no, now what am I going to do? I'm going to drain the battery. I'm going to have to call AAA. The kill switch was on. Oops. I've since learned, don't use the kill switch. The kill switch is for when you get in an accident to kill the bike. Just use your key. Never use the kill switch. Oh my gosh, rookie mistake. Wearing down the battery. So there you have it. I make it home in one piece. It was a long, hot trek on busy Saturday traffic, but by the time I got home, I was actually having a ball. I was like, there's a sense of, you're gaining knowledge, getting comfortable, but there's a sense of, I started to realize the sense of freedom that my friend was talking about. And it's the freedom I experienced on electric push scooters, taking them on the LA River and going around Griffith Park and doing hikes with them and stuff, But when my friend was telling me about his scooter adventures, I just realized it's the same thing, except you can go further. You can go to Malibu, you can go to the ocean, you can go to the beach, you can go up to the mountain lakes. It's just a bigger version of what I was already experiencing. And I basically went on 4 rides so far, every weekend, and I love it. And I brought the neighbor that gave me that helmet. I've already been sharing with him and talking to him about it, and so now he's buying one. And he was a hot rodder. He used to ride kind of crazy, and now he's like, settled down, but he's seen the excitement I've had about the scooter and just the freedom. But it's all about cruising. It's all about the journey, and I complain about LA a lot, but as soon as it's still miraculous, as soon as you get out of the traffic rat race in the cement jungle, there's gobs and gobs of beautiful nature all around us, like everywhere, and it's not even that far away. And that's why I'm anxious to share some of the Malibu runs I've done solo and with my buddies. And now I'm just looking for other places to ride. The closest hills behind me, there's so much to offer. I've only been up there like a few times, and it's like I know Malibu and Santa Monica better than I do the close mountain range right behind me. So anxious for the weather to cool down a little bit more. I've been heading out to Malibu just because it's nice and cool with these hot temperatures, but as soon as the weather cools down a little more, then I can head the opposite direction up the mountains and stuff. Just excited. It's, I'm something to be excited about. And the other thing too is, I'll have to check mileage on this, but any scooter you're getting between 60 and 100 miles to the gallon. So you fill her up 2 gallons, you can go a great distance. And for $7 or whatever, or $10, whatever. So that feeds the sense of freedom too. It's like, I'm not this lagering heavy vehicle that's costly to run. You just buy some padded, armored pants and jackets and get a scooter and you're good to go. And insurance is really cheap too, because you're not going to hurt anybody on a scooter. You're not going to cause much damage on a scooter. It's your body safety that you got to take some precautions with. And everyone's different with that, I have friends that they ride in t-shirts and no gloves, and they feel comfortable with that in hotter weather. I've watched enough safety things even before I started riding about precautions, and some of that made sense to me. Like, it's not worth it. It's not worth getting skinned up. So I think, to me, that these precautions are reasonable and won't make me uncomfortable, but make me feel more secure. And they do. Not invincible, but not so vulnerable to being ripped to shreds or broken up, which isn't fun for anybody. But anyways, thanks for sharing my rookie mistakes. I'm sure I probably made a few I forgot about, but I'm not traffic weaving yet or going in between cars. I don't feel comfortable on side streets doing that. I have got on the freeway. I do not have my license yet, so I've bent the rules a little bit. But just to get to a mountain exit, going a couple exits on the freeway, but I do have to start training for the little M1 license, and then that will make freeway available to me, and night riding, and passengers. So those are the restrictions when you're on your learner's permit, that you're not supposed to do those things. I forgot where I was heading with that point. I thought I had another point to make. But yeah, every ride gets better, and every ride learn new things, and I have learned enough that I lowered my seat, and I do want to lower the rear suspension. I think it'll really help me be more secure in my riding. And part of it's just the way the seat is shaped, and if I had 10 different scooter brands to test and sit on and ride around, I'm sure I might have chose differently, but you don't have that option when you're just buying a used bike. And that's the thing too, is Facebook Marketplace is brutal. So once I narrowed down some decisions on which bikes would be acceptable for me, then it's just hopping on a good deal before someone else does. And I think a lot of these good deals on Facebook Marketplace, people just get beat up with so many offers and lowballers and all this stuff that they get tired of responding to any people. So there were two bikes that I would have bought. I was ready. Two of them were on the coast, and I was like, I was gonna buy the Amtrak ticket, get the okay, call the insurance, make sure I was covered for the ride home, buy my ticket and show up. And then this one guy didn't respond. He was only responding in Spanish. Then he stopped responding. And that was a genuine, a little buddy scooter. And then the other one was a 250 Kimco. And I was ready to ride that thing home too. And the guy seemed really nice at first, and then later on I was shopping around, getting narrowing options down. Then later on, when I decided I want to get that bike, it's still listed for sale, he didn't respond. So when I saw this one pop up and I knew it was in my one of my acceptable bikes, I realized part of the game is just hopping really fast, so that you're not really getting too many offers yet. So that's what I did with this. I think he put it up for sale. It popped up in my marketplace notice, and I think within an hour, I think immediately when it popped up, I asked him about the bike, and I said, I'm considering this, and then threw it out there, like I could maybe head up there on the weekend, which was in 3 days, and then I told him, yeah, I'll come this time. How's this time Saturday? So I put it out there right away, and then confirmed with him, I think the next day, this time Saturday. And then, but it was registered out of state, so there was a little more back and forth I had to go through to make sure that this would be California. It was California ready. So most manufacturers are California ready, but some of them in the past weren't, and they would do 49 states, and they weren't California ready. And those kind of things are difficult in California. I think if they're higher mileage, you can get them registered, but it's more hoops to jump through. And so with those couple of exchanges, and he wasn't aware of that, and then he found the stickers, and it was California compliant. And then I think 3 days later, I went and picked it up. So, and I'm really happy with it. I mean, I talked to a friend of mine. A friend of a friend is a scooter mechanic, and he was trying to steer me towards Honda, which is probably the right advice, good advice, which I told my neighbor down the street. Just because the parts are there, there's local dealers, you can go get parts, everything's kind of just a little more simple. And some of these Taiwanese scooters, if there's not a dealer close by, it's harder to get parts for. And even then, with dealers, sometimes they're backed up on getting parts. So it's funny, even the GY no name brand cheap Chinese scooters, so many people buy those because they're the cheapest ones you can buy, and people look down on them, but actually there's a lot of information about them because a lot of people are just working on them and fixing them and supplying parts, so but these Taiwanese are better built, but can be harder to get parts for. So it means a little more pricey parts, but the build quality is excellent. So, and that's what I learned from researching is, the build quality in these Taiwanese brands are pretty on par with the other well-known brands. So, anyways, thanks for sharing in my scooter adventures, my rookie mistakes. Catch you on the flip side.